Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Thirdcoastreptile right here on YouTube. Hey, are you guys worried about how complex turtle husbandry can be? Are you worried that your tortoise is not going to be properly taken care of? Or maybe you've already purchased a tortoise and you're just like, oh my god, it's so complicated, I don't know what I'm doing, I want to make sure I have everything taken care of. Every YouTube video I watch is something different. How do I do all this? Well guys, this video is for you. I'm going to show you guys a 4-part process that simplifies how you take care of a tortoise. In fact, it makes it so easy that everybody should own a tortoise because it's not that hard. Once you have your systems in place and you follow these 4 steps, it's going to be great, guys. I'm telling you, you're going to enjoy this video. This is a good one for you. Oh, and don't forget, we're going to do it under the show segment where I answer one of your questions right here on Third Coast Reptile. Okay guys, as I mentioned, we're talking about 4 different categories, and ultimately this goal is to help you enjoy your relationship with your tortoise. Maybe you're on the fence about buying a tortoise. Well, this is going to help you simplify the process while maintaining the quality of life for that tortoise. So again, 4 steps. We're going to start with number 1, and that is researching the tortoise that you are going to buy. Okay guys, first off, don't skimp on the prep work ahead of time. This is going to help you in the long run tremendously. Getting systems set up, like I said, is vital to this process. So when it comes to researching what type of tortoise that you want, and that's our first category, you want to take into account the size of the enclosure that the tortoise is going to have to live in, and that's from hatchling to adult, the heating requirements, the humidity requirements, and diet. That's it. Everything else is just at your choosing what type of tortoise that you want to buy. If you're able to house a large tortoise, get a large tortoise. If you're only able to live in an apartment, you get a smaller enclosure capability, respect that and get yourself a tortoise that's capable of living in a more compact, smaller environment. Do your research first. Those are the things I look for when I'm looking at a tortoise, is what is its enclosure size, what type of heat and humidity requirements it has, and ultimately what sort of diet it requires. And then I think about, can I afford that sort of diet? Can I accommodate that kind of enclosure size? And ultimately, can I maintain that heat and humidity requirement for that tortoise? And it's that simple. Really, it comes down to just that. Alright guys, number 2 on our list here is setting up your enclosure prior to bringing your tortoise home. And it's a big step because you have to let that tortoise enclosure establish itself. The humidity levels, the heat levels, you have to learn how to maintain those. And when you first get your enclosure set up, that substrate is going to be really moisture rich. And you have to let that humidity level kind of calm down after the heat lamps initially blast that moisture out of them. So, and when you understand that, where you understand where your levels are, where everything's at in your enclosure is in comparison to step 1, when we learn about our heat and humidity requirements, that's when you can really move things around and fine-tune things prior to introducing your tortoise in there and becoming a guinea pig for all the errors that are going to come in place, because they are. You're going to make mistakes, but make them now before your tortoise gets in the enclosure. So the way you monitor this, the way you kind of understand this, is grabbing some tools, some vital tools for your reptile enclosure, and they are as follows. You need a UVB meter. This will monitor how much UVB output is coming from those light bulbs right at the surface where that tortoise is going to be exposed. Each type of tortoise requires a different level of UVB. Now, when it comes to your basking temperatures versus ambient temperatures, you're going to need a couple of different temperature gauges. I'm not just talking about the point and shoot laser, I'm talking about the simple, cheap little humidity and temperature gauges that you can buy at the pet store. They're like $7 or $8, and you need 2 sets of those, not just one. And I'll explain. When you set up your enclosure, you're going to have a hot side and a cool side. That hot side is going to need its own separate set of heat and humidity gauges, and your cool side is going to need a set of heat and humidity gauges as well. This gives you an accurate representation of the coolest temperatures and the hottest temperatures in that enclosure, as well as how that relative humidity is affected by each side. This is important so you can maintain that heat and humidity that that tortoise requires. Now, beyond this, it's just a matter of figuring things out, setting it up, and once your enclosure is set up where it needs to be, say it's too cold in there, so you need to either lower those basking bulbs or increase the wattage of that bulb so you maintain that temperature it needs to be. If the humidity is too low, well then you need to introduce more moisture into the substrate or change the substrate so it holds more moisture. These are the things you do now to avoid problems down the road. It's a small thing to do, to have a little bit of patience. Get your enclosure set up first, and then you're going to have a happy, healthy tortoise then after. Let's go on to number 3. Alright guys, step number 3. We are going to go ahead and set up schedules for your tortoise. Now this helps in a couple of different ways. It makes things consistent, it helps you organize and plan, and it gets you in a routine. This helps you understand, like, alright, Tuesdays and Thursdays we're working with this sort of food. Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we're doing this. Maybe on the weekend when you have a little bit more time, you're giving your tortoise that soaking that it needs once a week. Schedules are important, and I divide these up into 2 different schedules. So you'll have a weekly schedule, which is more of that focused feedings and calcium and vitamins, and then your soaks and whatever, small things like that. And then you have a yearly schedule. Now the yearly schedule is more of inspections to make sure that your tortoise weighs what it needs to weigh, and I do that on a monthly basis. Same thing with UVB light inspections. That's what that UVB meter will help you with in the long run. It's a great investment, by the way, because UVB lights have an expectancy of 6 months, but they can go out beforehand or after that 6 months. So I check them every month. I want to make sure that that UVB light is working and functioning at its full capacity so my tortoise can have a happy, healthy life. That's what we're trying to do, and that's why we have a yearly schedule. So each month you will do a UVB inspection. You'll do a tortoise weigh-in to check their health. A lot of people are stuck on the size of their tortoise, like, oh, it's 2 years old and it's only so big. As long as it's got a healthy, happy weight, that's all I care. And you can look that up too to see in comparison how much your tortoise should weigh versus what it weighs right now. But that's the rule of thumb with tortoises. The weight determines their health. So I do weigh-ins once a month. Also, I'll be doing like the heavier cleaning stuff, whether it's substrate replacements. Maybe you'll take the water dishes out and run them through the dishwasher on their own cycle. And that'll help make sure that those water dishes are nice and clean versus the weekly rinses that you'd be doing. So you have 2 separate schedules to help consistency and make sure that your tortoise is getting everything it needs to get done in a timely manner, whether it's in the weekly schedule or in that yearly schedule. It's that simple, guys. Now let's move on to number 4. Alright guys, the last on our list here to help with number 3 is apps. And using apps in your reptile husbandry will help you tremendously. If you're a little old-fashioned, you want to write everything out on a calendar, that's fine. But if you want to use an app, I recommend Husbandry Pro. Husbandry Pro keeps track of all the data that I've mentioned from the start of this video all the way to now. You can put your schedules right into this app, as well as what feeding supplies you have, what stuff you need to replace. You take notes like how long ago to replace that bulb. You can put all that information right here into this app. You can use your phone, you can use a tablet like I have here, or you can use a desktop as well. Husbandry Pro is the sponsor of my channel, but they are a big part of helping get that schedule established to make sure that you can maintain proper husbandry for your tortoise. We want to make sure that life is simple so you can enjoy your tortoise. We don't want to overcomplicate things. I know we went over a ton of information in this video, but trust me guys, it can really be simple once you do the homework and get things established. After that, it's smooth sailing. You got your your stuff in place here. It tells you the current feedings, what needs to happen next. This is great too if you have like my setups where I have multiple tortoises and I'm trying to understand, okay, when did I feed this guy last? Okay, when did that bulb get changed? All that stuff can be put right in here. Say that it's a family tortoise and you have, you know, your kids or your husband or wife, they're all taking care of this animal together. Well, who fed them last? Well, I don't know. So you go right in here and you can find out exactly who fed them last, what date, what they got fed, the last time it was weighed, the last time it had a soak, the last time it had a bowel movement, for crying out loud. You can monitor and track all that stuff right here. And the cool thing about this, say your tortoise gets sick, right? You can take this information and take it to your vet and they can track where the decline of that health of the tortoise went and what may be a root cause. You tried a new fruit on this day. Okay, well maybe that was an indication that they have this disease or they have this problem. Whatever the case may be, this is an invaluable tool to use. And right now, guys, if you use my link that I'm providing right here in the comment section, you will get a 30-day free trial of their product. That's right, Husbandry Pro is doing a promo for you guys right now, and if you go through my link as opposed to just going to husbandrypro.com, you go through my link, I get a little kickback, which helps the Third Coast Reptile channel, and I would really appreciate it if you went that route. So again, it's in the comment section. I'll have the the Husbandry Pro link right there for you guys to check it out, navigate through it, see what you guys think of it, and it's like, I think I pay like 15 bucks a month for this. This is really cheap, especially for the assurance that it gives you to make sure that your tortoise is being taken care of properly and that everything's covered. All your bases are done. So at this point, guys, you should feel pretty comfortable. It's a 4-step process. Save this video for you guys in case you want to do it in the future. Maybe you're thinking about next year buying a tortoise, but don't let the complexity of the hobby deter you from buying a tortoise. And that's what this video is all about, is helping you guys understand just how easy and manageable keeping a tortoise can possibly be.
Got questions? Get your answer right here on Under the Show.
Alright guys, for today's Under the Show segment, I'm answering a question from Anonymous, and I can see why because of the question. Okay, this makes sense. So Anonymous is asking about what to do with a tortoise that you're no longer able to keep. What's the proper way of finding that tortoise a new home? And it's very unfortunate. I'm sorry that you're going through this. This must have been a very tough decision to have to make. So when it comes to finding a new home for a tortoise, there are a few valid options, I guess, viable options for you. Number one, find yourself a reputable pet rescue, a nonprofit pet rescue. Chances are they'll be able to help you minimally find you a new owner. If not, foster that reptile until they find a new owner. That would be my best bet for you. If not, if it's not urgent, you have time, put that animal up for sale. Talk to people at expos. Maybe you know some breeders that might be interested in the animal. They might be able to help you as well. The one thing I want you to avoid when there's two things I want you to avoid when it comes to moving on with your tortoise and giving it to a new owner. Number one, do not give away your tortoise to somebody on the internet. You don't know their credibility. You don't know how well they're going to take care of that tortoise. And I feel like a small rehoming fee is necessary to kind of weed out the people that are just looking for a free reptile. Yeah, I think just avoid that altogether. Set a price that's, 50 bucks or something like that, or if you're able to negotiate, that's great too, but don't give away your tortoise. Number two, and this is without a doubt, it's common sense, but don't release your tortoise into the wild. They will die. Even if it is the right climate for them, chances are that they're not going to be able to survive due to, land development and the lack of readily available diet that they would require, and also vehicles, and people would steal it not knowing what it is. Just a bad deal. So again, I'm very sorry that you're going through this, but I feel the best routes to go here would be either find a pet rescue or find a purchaser that wants to buy the tortoise. Also, there are some zoos and some nature centers that might be able to take it in, but chances are those zoos are probably full as it is. So yeah, just keep that in mind. Best of luck to you. I hope you do find an owner for your tortoise if that's the case. Great question, and if you want your question answered on Under the Shell, there are 3 ways to do that. Number 1, first and foremost, you can comment on this video and I will answer your question. Number 2, you can go to the YouTube Third Coast Reptile community chat and I can answer your question there. And last but not least, you can get on good old Facebook and get your question answered at Third Coast Reptile, Facebook, blah, 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 my page. You look up Third Coast Reptile on Facebook, you'll find me. And you can put your question right there, and I'll get your question answered there as well. Alright, let's get back to the video. Okay guys, so as I mentioned in the previous video, we have a sponsorship program where you can get your name right here for any of the reptile enclosures here in the reptile house. That's whether it's in the living room or in the reptile room. If you are interested in sponsoring one of these enclosures, you can do so for as little as $25. Now that will get your name on this plaque, the month that you did the sponsorship for, and that money goes towards the reptile in that enclosure. You can do so by going to thirdcoastreptile@gmail.com, letting me know that you're interested. I'll get with you in the contact information and we'll go from there. At the end of the month, I will be giving you this plaque as a memento for the month that you helped take care of a tortoise. Also, along with a thank you card, of course. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Thank you for your support. You guys have been wonderful. Every like, every comment, every under the shell question that you ask, I love them all. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye now.